20,000 kilometers has come and gone, and it's time to do your oil change. This is definitely one you can do yourself. So we're going to do a walkthrough video to show you just how easy it is. It's better to have the engine oil a little bit warm when you're going to do a change. It just helps the oil to flow out a little bit easier. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run the bike for a few minutes. So ignition on, and we're just going to fire her up. If you've ridden that day already and the bike's still warm, then just go straight ahead. But our bike is cold, so I'm going to warm it up. There's an oil drain bolt right underneath the crankcase. It's a little bit fiddly to get to, but you'll need a 17mm socket, and we're going to need to completely remove that. So let's just loosen the bolt first of all. Okay, so that's loose. Get ready with my plastic container. There should be about 4 litres of oil inside the bike, but that could change, so I'll put some specs on the screen so you can see the differences. So it's just nearly out now, and we'll grab hold of it, and the oil's going to start to pour straight away. There it goes. So you can see the colour compared to brand new oil. It's very dark now, and you can look inside and you can see if there's any metal shavings or any debris, which would be pretty serious, and you'd need to find out the cause of that. But this is running really clear. Also, we want to dispose of the oil correctly. We don't really just want to put it into a hole in the ground. So take it to your local bike shop where they can have it recycled, or maybe you have a recycling centre close to where you are. But make sure you dispose of it correctly, please. And once it's completely drained, we'll put the oil drain bolt back in with a new gasket, and we'll top up with new oil. With the oil now completely drained, we can put the oil drain bolt back in. So let's just move this out of the way. And we have a new gasket on the bolt. And this bolt, according to the manual, must be tightened to 43 Newton meters. I don't know what that is in foot-pounds, so don't ask. I'm sure I will put some specs on the screen, and you'll be able to see what that is. So hand tighten to make sure we don't cross the threads, and then 43 Newton meters, and we tighten until we get the beep. Perfect. Now we need to take out the oil filter cartridge, and we can then top up with brand new oil. You don't have to take out the oil filter cartridge if you're changing the oil in between service intervals, for example, or you think that you've overheated the engine a little bit and you need to put in some new oil. Not always necessary to change the oil filter cartridge, but for this video we're going to do that, so we're going to go around to the other side of the bike and remove that. I've come around to the other side of the bike to take off the oil filter cartridge, which is just underneath the front of the engine here. It's a 65mm oil filter wrench, and it shouldn't be that tight. If it's too tight, then you might have a problem getting it off, and you might need a different tool. But oh no, that's nice. There's going to be a little bit of oil left inside the cartridge, so make sure you've got your container to catch anything, and then it should just spin all the way off. There we go, it's a little bit messy, but no problem. I'm going to install a K&N 204 filter. The original part number is coming up on the screen, so if you wanted to use the original Yamaha part, that's the number that you need to find. We're going to use a K&N 204 because you've got a nice little socket end, so it makes it much easier to install and uninstall. So you just spin that back on. Actually no, sorry, before you do that, we're going to put a little bit of oil on the on the seal and a small amount of oil inside the filter. Okay. And then we're going to spin that on, and the manual says that we need to tighten this up to 17 Newton meters. So I've got that set on the torque wrench now, and we're just going to tighten that up. Shouldn't be any turns. Okay, getting closer, here we go. There you go, perfect. Now we put back to the other side of the bike and we'll talk about topping up with oil. Back after a short break. Now we've got the oil filter installed, I can top up with the new oil, but I'm not going to say exactly which oil I'm going to be using today. I'm going to do another video on the types of oil that you can use. So if you're unsure about which oil that you're supposed to be topping up with, then you can check out the link in the description. I'm going to put in, because I've changed the oil filter cartridge, you need to put in 4 litres of oil. But I'm not going to put in 4 litres straight away. I'm going to put in about 3.5, and then I'm going to start the engine and check the oil head pressure, and when I'm happy that I've got oil head pressure, I'm going to top it up using the dipstick to the correct level and put the cap on, and we're done. So I'm just going to pour in some of this oil, when that's done we'll be back. After you've filled up, we're about 3.5 litres to begin with. Put the lid back on and we'll start the bike and leave it running for 3 or 4 minutes. After we've let it run for 3 or 4 minutes, we'll come back and check the oil level again, and then we'll do the oil check for the pressure at the heads. Bike's nice and warm, so we're going to take the dipstick out and do an oil level check. Remember, we know we need to top it up a little bit, but how much are we going to do that? So I don't know if you can see that very well on camera. We're about halfway between the marks, which is okay. You can run it like that. But before I do top it up, I'm going to check that we've got oil pressure getting to the heads. There's 2 bolts on top of the cylinder heads, and I'm going to show you those now, so we can verify that oil is getting to the head. It's easier to remove the plastic knee guard out of the way so you get access to this 10mm bolt in here. That's the oil pressure check bolt for the front cylinder. So what we need to do is we need to start the engine. Whilst it's idling, we just need to loosen this bolt, and we're checking to see some oil. You've got 60 seconds and it should see some oil coming out a little bit. I've got nothing. There we go. That's a little bit of oil seeping out the top. You can see it just there. Okay, so that means there's oil getting to the head, so I'm happy with that. Do the same to the rear cylinder on the other side. It's a little bit more tricky to get to, but you'll need a torch to see exactly what's going on. But that's good. Now we check up, top up the oil, and that's it. Final oil top up then. Just going to unscrew this. And you should put in the maximum, well, you should be close to the maximum of 4 litres, but if you've got 3.9, it's okay. So I'm just going to leave a little back. And check the oil level again. Yep, that's on the max, so I'm happy with that. Give it a little degrease around there. Bit of a clean up. And that's all there is to it. You click the link in the video and we can discuss the different types of oil that you can actually use. So hopefully I'll see you on that video.